Previously on Said Nicely.
Anytime people have criticisms about her, it's, oh my God, the world is against me. All the isms are against me, right? It can't be that, oh, you did something. But when it comes to her having criticism, she just be blah, blah, blah.
Cornball nigga who loves to make himself look like he's the white people's savior.
Blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody getting hit. Like, what are we talking about, man? You know, and y'all are like eating this shit up. That's why it's not even really about her. It's more so really about y'all. Some of y'all who in real life don't move like that, y'all don't want to be held accountable. When are we going to address the elephant in the motherfucking room? It really just boils down to the fact that low-key women, some women have bigger egos than men. What kind of ego do you have to never believe that you're wrong, that you've done anything wrong? There's an interview, if you go look it up, she said, you know what? It might be 5% of the time where I might have been a problem. But if that was the case, man, I'm sorry, I'm going to just keep it moving, right? Like, look this shit up. It's on the Breakfast Club, right? That means 95% of the time that she's always in the right. Like, who the fuck is saying something like that? I don't think it's autism. I low-key think the ism that comes to mind is narcissism. If we're in the age where we're throwing around narcissism everywhere, right, I think it got to start with her. For you to use people's empathies and sympathies about these causes simply to like shield yourself, to allow yourself to just do what the fuck you want to do and then not have to pay any consequences, to me is problematic. Like I said, this is not even really about Amanda. I'm really hoping to reach the other women out there who can still be saved, if I'm being honest. And let me take a moment real quick to really try to appeal to y'all, okay? There are going to be people out here who are going to use your trauma, your experiences to try to get you to rally for them, to support them. Be careful, because sometimes they're not who you think they are. Right? They're pulling at your heartstrings. There's a lot of people out here who are exceptional and they're doing exceptional work, right? But they're not assholes. They're not narcissists. You know, so they're not people who are entitled. All of us have these certain traits about us, and I get that. But when it's to a certain level or a certain extreme, that's what makes that person different. And I get that. I get that we may be neurodivergent. Had she said that, cool. But you can't be that smart and not know how to use certain words and not be able to, you know, apologize when necessary, especially if it was a misspeak. But she couldn't even do that because she couldn't even be accountable for something as small as being a misspeak, right? I saw people bending over backwards to give her grace in regards to the whole self-diagnosis thing. But the truth is, she still couldn't even admit that she was wrong there, right? People who have a superiority mindset or, you know, they will find ways. Like that whole hubris thing was cute, but the truth is, like, it's a definition in a dictionary. So when a writer uses it in an opinionated column or whatever, then like, it's still applicable. Just because you can go back and quote, like some of y'all be falling for the okie doke, and it is hilarious to me. Being on socials more and doing this content just makes me realize how gullible so many of you are. It breaks my heart because, you know, y'all will fall for anything, you know, and make yourself susceptible to drifters or people who want no good for you except to exploit you and use you. I mean, I get it. We're all conditioned. I'm not excluding myself. You know, when I eat at McDonald's, I know I am part of the slog that is the fucking matrix. You know what I'm saying? But at least that's McDonald's, with decades of experience and service and systems in place to sustain and maintain a business. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, Nick, what does that mean? Like, how does this relate to Amanda Seales? It relates to us all, right? Because we're in the business of ourselves. We're all like LLCs unto ourselves. We farm our time to companies all the time. Many of y'all championing Amanda Seales are making like way less than her and will do way more to maintain that job, right? And I get the aspirational side of it. But at the same time, if you look at people who are truly successful, even if they are assholes, most of them, aside from Kanye, are able to regulate themselves in different environments in order to meet their goal, their end, right? If your goal is to be an individual and say, fuck everybody else and just do what the fuck you want to do, nobody's knocking that, right? But we all understand that comes with consequences. It's called adulting. I don't even know, like, all of a sudden how we're even having some of these conversations outside of the fact that I actually do, because I am empathetic. And like I said, I understand that people are dealing with real issues. I understand that, like, especially when it comes to autism and depression and the oppression that comes from sexism and racism and some of the isms, right? But my main thing is that when everything is that, it makes it hard to differentiate when it's not that. And for me, all I hear from her is the isms. And now adding the autism to me is like the biggest slap in the face. So it's cool for some of y'all to fall for that hat trick, right? But look the fucking shit up. You know what I'm saying? You don't just self-diagnose, I'm sorry. And even if you do, part of it, I'm thinking, is the journey to try to figure out how to navigate. So even when you get beyond the diagnosis, what are you doing to address it in any meaningful way? If you're not doing that, it is bullshit, yo. You know what I'm saying? The list that y'all would go to for people that you like. And so the last thing I'll say is it's funny to me how the conversation's about likability, but a lot of y'all who are defending her, you're doing so because you like her. You're doing so because you can see yourself in her. You're doing so because she's maybe hitting on certain things, experiences, your trauma bonding that you connect with her on. So to act like likability isn't a fucking thing, nah. So you cannot like me because you don't know me, right? Cool. But don't act like that's not a fucking thing. And y'all will bend over backwards to defend people that you like, and I see through that shit. So anyways, you already know what it is. That was said not so nicely, a little departure from what we normally do, but it got to be said. Not so nicely sometimes. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, all that good shit at the BOC Pod. Until then, peace.